A few years ago, this baby's life might have been measured in hours. He is a blue baby, born with a rare heart defect that impairs the flow of blood to his lungs. In the past, these critical first hours would have been spent in surgery, in a race with time to identify his problem and correct it. Today, a drug has dramatically improved his chances by giving him time. The time he needs to gain strength. Time a surgeon needs to evaluate him and prepare for surgery. For Timmy De La Rosa and other babies like him, Proston VR Pediatric has been the gift of life. But its very existence is itself a gift. It is needed too rarely to pay for its development. It has been estimated that on average, it takes 7 to 10 years and costs nearly $90 million to develop a modern pharmaceutical product. The odyssey of Proston VR Pediatric has been even more costly. Before extensive studies could be carried out, its chemical code had to be broken so that the compound could be synthesized in quantity. Identifying its actual effects in the body took an investigative partnership between industry and medicine that continues even today. Demonstrating its safety and benefits required years of clinical studies. With the success of Proston VR Pediatric, some of the promise of prostaglandins are now being realized. But it took more than 25 years of effort and the dedication of a century of caring. More than 100 years ago, Dr. William E. Upjohn invented a pill that would readily dissolve in a patient's body. And ever since, the Upjohn name has been synonymous with the development of effective pharmaceuticals to meet the challenge of human health. Today, on 6 continents and in more than 150 countries, Upjohn products serve the world's most fundamental needs. Medicines to control or cure our most crippling diseases. Agricultural products to increase our production of food. And new approaches to the delivery of healthcare itself. Around the world, our products touch millions of lives in some very personal ways.
Let's talk about colors a bit. How many colors or what colors do you see in leaves in fall, Archella?
For an artist, sight is a gift beyond measure. Diane Wilson has spent a lifetime exploring its meaning. But a disease she shares with millions of other adults threatens her with heart problems, kidney disease, and even blindness. Diabetes has no cure. But for Diane, there is hope that she can preserve her health and eyesight and lead a normal life by controlling her blood sugar with diet, exercise, and when necessary, medication. Diane's doctor has prescribed the newest of the anti-diabetes drugs developed by Upjohn, Micronase. Upjohn's pioneering work in diabetes-controlling agents began in the 1950s. Oronase was the first oral medication introduced in the United States and remains to this day one of the safest, most effective drugs ever sold, used by millions of adult diabetics. Further research led to Tulinase, a more potent oral agent to help diabetic adults control their blood sugar. The pancreas controls blood sugar by secreting insulin, which is made by beta cells in specialized sites. In diabetics, like Diane, however, the beta cells may make inadequate amounts of insulin. Sulfonylurea compounds like oronase and tulinase stimulate these cells to make adequate amounts of insulin. With continued use of these medications, the body's cells become more efficient in using insulin to metabolize blood sugars. Micronase, with a once-a-day formulation, is the third in this family of Upjohn drugs for adult diabetics.
Yellow, R.
It represents our continuing commitment to controlling one of mankind's most destructive diseases.
Like that very much. Good job. Okay.
Hat sich die terroristische Rote Armee-Fraktion
Frankfurt reporter Wolfgang Schmitz works under constant pressure.
LAS 139
His job at the Deutsche Presseagentur involves a series of daily stresses.
Ja, nein, das nicht. Nein.
He feared that the pains in his chest might signal the onset of a heart attack. As his worry over these chest pains and the stress of his job increased, he felt himself overwhelmed by nerves and unable to face many of his normal activities. After the attack of chest pain, he had the added fear that too much activity would bring on another attack. But he was lucky. His heart was healthy. His pain was part of an illness that is not well understood. He became one of the millions of people suffering from serious anxiety, an illness with its origins in the chemistry of the central nervous system. Its effects temporarily changed his life, and they eventually might have contributed to heart disease. But counseling and a medication developed by Upjohn helped him to regain control and resume a more normal life. Xanax is one of a new generation of medications, now helping to control illnesses that until recently were poorly understood and untreatable. Only recently have we begun to unlock the mysteries of the brain and to discover the complex chemical nature of its disorders. The discovery of the benzodiazepine compounds in the 1950s offered the renewed hope of treatment. Their promise stimulated an intensive effort of molecular modification, a systematic search for medications that could act with increasing selectivity and safety on the brain. Upjohn scientists succeeded in creating a molecule that helps control anxiety disorders. Acting on nerve cells in the area of the brain which controls emotion and anxiety, the drug is more selective in its action, resulting in fewer side effects than older drugs. Xanax is a major step in the ongoing effort to treat the mind's disorders. It has reinforced Upjohn's continuing leadership in central nervous system research.
From the National Weather Service Office, Capitol Airport in Springfield.
For American soybean farmer Tom Mayfield, today's events mark one of the year's most important decisions. Picking up the last of the seed he has selected represents a commitment that can make a difference in the size and success of a harvest still months away. Increasingly, farming has become a partnership between the farmer and the plant scientist. The soybean seed developed by Upjohn's Asgrow Seed Division represents a continuing effort to develop the specific seed traits farmers like Tom Mayfield require: a high rate of germination, disease resistance, standability for ease of harvest, maturity matched to his growing season, and adaptation to solid row seeding, a planting technique helping to control soil erosion. Keeping pace with the rapid changes in agriculture requires a constant search for plants with promising genetic traits and a sophisticated breeding program to produce improved strains. Preserving the vitality of a new strain also requires a rigorous program of seed stock maintenance. It is a time-consuming but vital part of modern agriculture. And it's a process being repeated thousands of times at Upjohn research stations around the globe to meet the needs of the world's farmers. Today, Upjohn offers more than 1,000 varieties and hybrids that include both field crops and vegetables. Vegetable seed is supplied to processors and fresh market growers. In the future, harvests like these will need to be even more productive. Upjohn is turning to new techniques in plant development, the techniques of biotechnology, to speed the process and keep up with the world's demand for food. For Tunglo, in the Rayong province of Thailand, the approaching monsoon season means a weather change that may increase the risk of mycoplasmal pneumonia among his animals. This chronic respiratory disease has been costly for him in the past, and a few of his pigs are already sick. It could spread and weaken his herd, slowing their growth and leaving them susceptible to other diseases. But this year, the arrival of Upjohn's technical representative, Pinchayam, and the veterinarian Wibon will provide valuable assistance in protecting the health of his animals. Together, they determine that Upjohn's Lincomix can give Tunglo the ability to reduce the extent and severity of the disease. Containing lincomycin, an Upjohn antibiotic, Lincomix is just one of a growing family of animal health products developed by Upjohn's worldwide agricultural operations. In an injectable form, lincomycin is also being used to fight infectious arthritis in swine. And as a premix and a soluble powder, it is being used to treat swine dysentery. It is also proving successful as a poultry product to treat staphylococcal infections. Another exclusive Upjohn antibiotic, novabiocin, has been highly successful in treating mastitis in dairy cattle, part of Upjohn's 30 years of experience in mastitis research. And Upjohn's pioneering work with prostaglandins has led to the development of lutealized sterile solution, a product helping the world's beef and dairy industries control the timing of reproduction in livestock. Animal research has begun to pay critical dividends for farmers around the world. At Upjohn, the link with basic research in pharmaceuticals is paying extra rewards. Alexandrian Spondorian was just one of a growing number of elderly Americans facing a difficult decision. Age and frailty made it increasingly difficult for her to take care of herself. It could mean leaving a home filled with memories and meaning to move into a nursing home.
Good morning, Mrs. Spondorian. How are you doing?
Thank you.
I see you're up and walking. You look great.
Upjohn Healthcare Services provided an alternative, a nurse who visits her at home to take care of her medical needs.
Very good. What's this over here?
Yes,
It has meant companionship, but more important, it has given Mrs. Spondorian the opportunity to stay independent and enjoy a meaningful life in her own home.
Now, who's that?
For many people, home health care is an economical and more humane alternative to institutional forms of care.
Upjohn Healthcare Services, Nancy speaking.
Upjohn Healthcare Services, with 300 locations and 60,000 employees in the U.S. and Canada, is the largest private provider of home care in North America. It is filling a gap for thousands of people who can lead a more normal, more satisfying life at home with just a little extra care.
Is that you?
I am here.
That's you.
Yeah.
At night, a machine must breathe for Scott Bindle. He sleeps at home in his own bed because his respirator is monitored and maintained by Laura Weber, an Upjohn healthcare nurse. Scott is the victim of an unusual disease that once would have kept him hospitalized through childhood.
Good morning. Hi, Johnny. Hi, Vicki. Hi, Scott Bindle. Johnny's come to
But
do
today,
some work today.
he's able to grow and learn like any other 2-year-old because an Upjohn healthcare professional, Joni Jensen, is able to provide the care at home.
Cow.
For Alexanian and Scott and thousands of others, home health care provided by qualified personnel has given life an extra meaning. It has preserved the quality of living to which all of Upjohn's resources are devoted. Scott Bindle, Diane Wilson, Wolfgang Schmidt, Tom Mayfield, Ton Glau, Alexanian Spandorian, Timmy De La Rosa. These are a few of the lives we have touched. Our products reach many others around the world. Products like Cleocin, a first-line antibiotic for the treatment of serious infections. Motrin, an anti-inflammatory analgesic for relief from post-operative pain and the pain of arthritis, muscle strains, and menstrual cramps. For the treatment of insomnia, Halcyon, bringing sleep without next-day drowsiness. Cortaid, for relief from the discomfort of poison ivy, eczema, insect bites, dermatitis. Depomedrol, an anti-inflammatory hormone for the treatment of respiratory diseases, arthritis, allergies, and dermatologic conditions. Unicap, a multivitamin dietary supplement for children and adults. Trobicin, an essential antibiotic in the treatment of gonorrheal infection. Zanosar, developed by Upjohn to treat a form of pancreatic cancer so rare that it afflicts fewer than 1 person in 500,000. Chericol, for the relief of coughs and head cold symptoms. Lonitin tablets, for the treatment of resistant high blood pressure. Cobb broiler chickens, a superior line of breeders for the world's poultry production industry. Special field corn hybrids with high-yielding, disease-resistant characteristics. Coated lettuce and carrot seed for large-scale machine planting. And a few others. For more than a century, Upjohn has been meeting the needs of the human family. Today, we are already anticipating tomorrow's needs, developing leukotriene inhibitors for the treatment of asthma, looking for anti-cancer agents, studying the use of monoclonal antibodies to promote the human immune response and the diagnosis of immune deficiencies, investigating angiotensin inhibitors for the control of hypertension, developing pyrimidinones to stimulate the immune system's response to cancer, studying the techniques of genetic engineering to speed the process of plant strain development, and more. Our commitment to preserve, extend, and improve the quality of life is unchanged. In medicine, agriculture, and home health care, the Upjohn family is at work, building on a second century of caring.